If you follow my channel, you know that I've already reviewed most of the Epiphone inspired by Gibson / signature guitars, including the Appetite Burst. And for the first time, I got the big brother, the Gibson / Les Paul Standard Appetite Burst. In this video, I'm gonna compare both guitars. There are a lot of differences and some similarities. So what is the Appetite Burst? Let's hear it from the man himself.
So this is actually, probably is the case that Jessica actually originally came in, but this is the Derrig.
Oh man, there it is.
So this is the Kris Derrig 59 replica that I've had since 1987. And it was, I beat it up pretty good for that first, I don't know, 8 to 10 months that I used it in Guns N' Roses in '87, opening for the Cult and all that stuff. But this guitar, it just has a very unique sound to it. It's got Alnico 2s in it. I haven't really...
But Alnico 2 PAFs?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is a real set
No,
of...
Alnico, Seymour Duncan.
These are your
well,
Duncans.
they were theirs then.
Oh, now they're yours.
Yeah, I mean, I did a couple little tiny tweaks to them to do the slash ones, but these were Seymour Duncan Alnico 2s in 1987, or 88. I think this was made in '86. But this guitar has a very sort of great, unique tone to it. And so I use it whenever I go into the studio. It's always there in case anything else I have doesn't work. Right?
Yeah. I mean, but, if you had to just do a gig with one guitar.
Yeah, if I was on a desert island, that would probably still
be the one. There's a lot of hits on this guitar, man.
And we used it for this latest record, right?
Yeah.
And I would put it, I would use it, and Dave would go, "What's that? What's that guitar?" Well, it's the Derrig. You go, "Oh, okay." So he totally recognized it when we were doing the session, because there's some songs I didn't do with this guitar, and he would, go like, "Okay, so that's cool. This particular guitar is cool." But as soon as I put this back on, he goes, "Oh, I love that guitar."
That's cool. It's kind of surreal to hold this one, man.
Yeah.
This is...
It's got a lot of history.
Yeah. Now, does this go out or just replicas?
Yeah, just the replicas.
Just
I don't take this out. I stopped taking it out in '88.
Oh, it got retired.
Yeah, because I was like, the way that I manhandle guitars on the road, it's not going to, it's just.
So all of this is like,
yeah, it was in
18
pristine,
months.
Yeah,
that's
it was
like
pristine
18 months
condition when I first got it.
Wow.
It was totally clean.
Man. Yeah, it's killer.
So, long story short, Kris Derrig was an American guitar maker who famously built the 59 replica for Slash. Yep, I'm sure most of you already know, but the Appetite Burst, the original guitar that Slash used to the late 80s, was a replica. Unfortunately, Kris Derrig passed away a couple of years after producing the guitar. But boy oh boy would his legacy live on. As you heard it from the man himself, the Derrig replica was used in the recording of Appetite for Destruction and a lot of other iconic albums. Such a thing is not unheard of though. One of the most famous guitars that James Hetfield from Metallica used throughout the years is his Electra Gibson copy. And here's the funny thing, Gibson went full circle on these guitars. So, first Derrig copied the 59 Les Paul Standard, and then Gibson copied the Derrig copy. A copy of a copy of a copy. Ah man. So first of all, we got the Derrig copy. Then Slash used a lot of copies throughout the years. Copy. You're gonna hear this word a lot throughout this review. And then we got this, the guitar that I'm showing you, the Gibson Appetite Burst, and the copy of the Gibson, which is the Epiphone. Gibson did the same thing with the Electra. They've produced a new Flying V for James that copies the Electra. Why am I telling you all this? Because the good news is, whichever one you choose, the Epiphone, the Gibson, or I'm not saying you should make your own copy, but it should work. The point of the Appetite Burst, this guitar, is the iconic look. Regardless if you got the cheapest Les Paul Special that comes with a beginner pack, if you got the Epiphone inspired by Gibson, the Gibson Les Paul Standard, or if you're one of the few lucky ones to have a custom shop version, you should feel special. That's the whole point of this guitar. You pick it up and you feel like a part of history. You feel like a rock icon. However, not all copies are made equal, as I shall demonstrate in today's video. Let's see the specs for both guitars, starting with the 2021 Gibson / Les Paul Standard Appetite Burst. Comes in two finishes, the Appetite Burst and the November Burst, which means they are the same guitar with a different finish. That's the listing from 21, so it used to cost $3,000 back then. It's a similar price right now. I'm gonna go through all the specs and leave them on screen for a couple of seconds so you can read them. Most notable, AAA flame maple top, one-piece mahogany body. 50s vintage neck profile, medium jumbo frets, 22 of them. The hardware features the ABR1 pneumatic bridge with aluminum stop bar. We got the custom Burzbacher Aonico 2 pickups, which are a replica of the Seymour Duncan Aonico 2s, and a hard shell case with some accessories. The Epiphone was introduced in 2020 and it has remained unchanged so far. It costs around $999, sometimes it's reduced to $799. Comes in a couple of finishes that I've already reviewed. I'm gonna link all of them in this video. In the specs, some of the differences: mahogany body but multiple pieces, I think two. Carved maple cap with a AAA flame maple veneer. The neck profile is different / custom C shape. The hardware features a lock-tone pneumatic bridge and a tailpiece. The pickups are different as well, although they sound similar. Custom Burzbacher Aonico 2. You can check out my full review of the Epiphone. Well, the differences are many, starting with the most obvious one, that the color of the Epiphone is not the same as the Gibson. The official photos from the Gibson and Epiphone websites are confusing. They look very similar, but obviously in person it's a different story. The other major difference that everybody points out is the price. The Gibson is priced at $2,999, the Epiphone at $999 and sometimes $799. The Gibson costs almost $2,000 more than the Epiphone for a good reason. It's made in USA, the Epiphone is made in China. Not only they're made in different countries, but the materials used also differ. The Gibson uses a much higher grade mahogany for the body, maple for the top and rosewood for the fingerboard from the Nashville stock, where the Epiphone uses a lower grade wood in China. That also makes for a lot of differences in the construction. The Gibson uses a single piece mahogany body, non-weight relief, and a two-piece AAA flame maple top, where the Epiphone has multiple pieces mahogany body, probably two, hard maple cap, and a maple veneer. On paper, both guitars feature mahogany necks, but the Gibson has a one-piece neck all the way from the heel to the tip of the headstock, where the Epiphone is three pieces: heel, this piece, scarf joint, headstock. You can check out the Epiphone video review for more details about its construction. On top of that, we have the highest grade rosewood with trapezoid inlays for the Gibson, where the Epiphone features Indian laurel. The more eagle-eyed viewers will also notice that the horn on both guitars is differently shaped, much sharper on the Epiphone. See how smooth and rounded off is on the Gibson. There are also differences in the pickup spacing and the distance between the bridge and the pickup. You see how narrow it is here and how wide it is with the Epiphone. Another major difference is that the neck profile of the Gibson is the 50s style and this has the C shape / custom. I'm gonna measure both of these and show you later in the video. One of the most obvious differences, of course, is the shape of the headstock. The Gibson has the open book style, where the Epiphone features the Kalamazoo headstock introduced for the Inspired by Gibson in 2020. Truss rod cover, a bell with 2 screws for the Gibson, 3 screws for the Epiphone. The Gibson features a one-way traditional truss rod with a nut. The Epiphone features a two-way adjusted by a 4mm Allen wrench. On paper, both of them feature the Graphtec nut, but they are differently cut. Again, let me show you why specs are so vague sometimes. Both of these guitars feature 22 medium jumbo frets. but the Gibson has more rounded off frets and fret edge binding, where the Epiphone features taller frets almost like triangle shaped, like sharper, and they don't have the fret edge binding. The cover and top are not the only differences in the finish. The Gibson features a nitrocellulose lacquer, where the Epiphone has a polyurethane finish, and they definitely feel different. The hardware differs a lot. This features the Gibson Deluxe tuners, this features the Epiphone Deluxe tuners. Then there's the ABR1 bridge with the aluminum tailpiece for the Gibson, Epiphone lock tone bridge and a tailpiece. The top hats with the reflectors and dial pointers are similar on both guitars, but the electronics differ, especially the three-way switch has a different tip, different chip, and it's switchcraft high grade. The Epiphone has the cheap stuff. The output jack is also different. This has the switchcraft, this has the cheap Epiphone stuff. The pickups are different as well. The Gibson features the custom Bursbucker Aonico 2 Zebra set. The Epiphone features the custom Probucker Aonico 2, which are fairly similar. They measure about the same and recorded they sound pretty similar. Back of the guitar showcases the differences in construction that I told you about. Two-piece mahogany body, lower grade for the Epiphone, single-piece non-weight relief, high-grade mahogany for the Gibson, and different electronics, which I'm gonna showcase later in the video. And here's a better look at the differences of the necks that I showed you. One piece all the way from here, and two wings for the headstock. So we have heel, one piece all the way to here, scarf joint, and headstock, so three pieces. Slash Scully logo on both guitars, but you can see the Gibson has the white in color logo, the Epiphone has a yellowish one. Here's the back of the vintage deluxe tuners of the Epiphone and Gibson deluxe tuners. Made in USA for the Gibson, handcrafted in China for the Epiphone. Both guitars weigh about the same, the Gibson being a little bit heavier. As you saw, there are a lot of differences between these two guitars, and I'm gonna go into further detail. You don't have to remember everything I just told you. I've made this table with all of the differences, and I'm gonna reference it in the description with a timestamp. With all this in mind, it's time to review the Gibson. Not much to be done here before I start with the review. Luckily the previous owner kept this guitar in pristine condition. Shout out. I'm gonna do some basic maintenance, clean and polish the frets with Frine by Music Nomad, oil the fingerboard using F1 fingerboard oil, and lube the nut with Tune It by Music Nomad. One drop of F1 fingerboard oil between the frets is enough, and then gently rub it into the wood. Remember, the idea is that the oil needs to go into the wood, not in the rack. Pickups out of the way, review AP written in the neck pickup cavity, stands for appetite, I am assuming. And in the bridge pickup cavity we have LPS standard 00 something, I cannot figure this one out. Here you can see the two-piece AAA, oh my god, I'm stuttering, AAA maple top and the one-piece mahogany body. A bit of a rough job from the finishing department, but that portion is under the pickup rings, so I guess it's okay. Some residue from a buffing wheel compound and the three-way switch cavity and the cables that go all the way to the electronics in the back. The pickups are a set of custom Buckers Aonico 2 Zebra Open cream pickup rings that complement them nicely. For the neck position we have Rhythm Custom Bucker Aonico 2. Here's the date that the pickup was produced in and the PAF sticker. Long Gavit conductor wire. Here's the other pickup from the set. Remember, these are made to resemble the Seymour Duncan Aonico 2s that are in Slash's Replica guitar. The Derrig came with Duncans from the 80s. Here's my favorite part of the video. Slanted pickup rings, and let's check out the screws. Always well, short for the front pickup, long for the back. The Aonico 2 pickups measure just as I expected. The bridge position is at 878 k ohms, switching over to the neck at 856, and middle position measures 433. The usual layout for the control, starting with the three-way pickup selector that has chrome hardware, cream, poker chip and an amber tip. We got bridge volume, bridge tone, neck tone, gold top hats with silver inserts, slightly raised above the body to fit the thumb bleeders. Here's the bridge and tailpiece situation. I'm gonna start with the tailpiece, which is extremely lightweight because it's aluminum, advanced plating on the bottom side, and it weighs 34 grams. The bridge is the ABR1 which has individual cellos. I'm gonna demonstrate. You can take one of them out. It's adjusted by thumb wheel or an Allen wrench. There's the letter B on one of the cellos, so I'm guessing they spell ABR, ABR, something like that. And here's what the underside looks like, Gibson ABR1. Now let's weigh it, 59 grams. What can I say about the top other than that Gibson did a wonderful job of selecting the two pieces of the AAA flame maple top. It contrasts wonderfully with the single ply cream binding and the red back. The neck is made out of high-grade materials, one-piece mahogany and a single-piece high-grade rosewood. Single-ply cream binding and dot inlays on the side. 22 medium jumbo frets, nicely done with fret edge binding. I think Gibson did a wonderful job on this one. I don't see anything that sticks out. I've seen some 2021 Gibson standards with bad binding, with not so well selected boards. This one seems to be fine. The inlays are beautifully done as well. Gorgeous patterns, they seem to be consistent. I especially like the 12th fret and check out the last ones. Beautiful. Onto the headstock, starting with the Graphtec nut, which has cracked a bit here near the binding, but it's okay. Much better cut than the Epiphone, started to yellow a little bit, and the previous owner used some graphite, I guess, but I'm using the Tunit, which is translucent and doesn't get darkened like this. It's fine though, that's purely cosmetic and I don't see any problems with it. Business as usual with the gorgeous headstock, open book with the black veneer, Les Paul models gold silkscreen, and the Gibson with the dotted eye logo, mother of pearl. These are the Gibson Deluxe tuners, and the truss rods they've painted over, so it's a bit weird but seems to be okay. Truss rod cover. The guitar comes with this one installed with the Slash logo, 2-ply, 2 screws. However, if you're not a huge Slash fan, I don't know why you would buy this guitar, probably get a good deal or something. You can get it to look like a normal Les Paul standard by installing the blank truss rod cover. Gibson does this with most of their signature models. Also included is this cream pickguard, single ply with the chrome hardware bracket. It has a protective film on it with a sticker. I'm not gonna peel it off, I'm gonna leave that for the next owner. And funny thing, again, the Gibson multi-tool doesn't fit with the truss rod. I've tried this with Jessica, didn't work as well. I'm not sure why they even bothered to include this one, but that's why they put this tool as well, which fits perfectly. A bit of a hard fit because of the paint, but it works. The nut measures perfect 43mm or 1.69 inch. The 12th fret is at 53mm or 2.08 inches. Thickness of the first fret 22.5mm or 0.88 inch. Thickness of the 12th fret 24.6mm or 0.96, almost an inch. Body thickness of a little over 2 inches or 51.5mm. Perfect spacing between the pickups at 60mm or 2.36 inches. To compare it to the Epiphone, it is under 2 inches, 48.8mm, and the spacing between the pickups is a little under 60, 58.3 to 0.29, and that's because of the spacing between the bridge and the pickup. 24.75 inch scale length and the usual 12 inch radius that I'm used to seeing on most Gibson Les Pauls. Here's what Gibson are calling 50s vintage neck profile. It's supposed to mimic the 59 Les Paul standard that the Appetite is based on, and this is a neck profile for the Epiphone Slash custom C-shape. They are fairly similar. The Epiphone is a bit thicker around the 12th fret. The Gibson features a single-piece mahogany back, nitrocellulose lacquer finish and red paint. No complaints, nicely smoothed off edges, I like the pattern of it. And anyway, here's the three-way pickup cavity. Always the switchcrafts are slanted like this because of the curve of the top. Premium electronics for the Gibson. Here's the electronics compartment with the CTS 500K pots, the Gavit conductor wire from the pickups, and we have the 223J capacitors. I'm gonna try and give you a better look of those. Here they are. Carly DMS 223J. Here's the Epiphone, a 2-piece mahogany back, no veneer on it, and that's the awful 3-way switch that needs replacing immediately after the factory. Cheaper electronics, even though it has the 500 CTS K pots, 223J capacitors as well, but as you can see, it's on the quick connect system. I'm sure there are not a lot of people that would be able to hear the difference between quick connect and solder on, but again, it's there. And here's a better look at that capacitor. So there is a difference in the electronics. Anyway, the Gibson features a cream cover for the output jack and high-grade output jack. I think it's Switchcraft. Strap button here and one over here. Here's the cover for the electronics compartment. Still has the protective film. I'm gonna remove it. And here is the cover for the three-way pickup selector. Back at the neck, as I already explained, one piece all the way from the heel to the tip of the headstock with two pieces glued to the sides of the headstock. Nitrocellulose finish, high gloss, feels nice, thick around the 12 fret, and the Scully logo near the base of the headstock. Gibson Deluxe tuners, made in USA, and the serial number reads 21 and 167 is the day of the year. Here's what the Gibson Deluxe tuner looks like. It has PW marked on the underside, and let's weigh this one. It is, with all the hardware and the screws, 32 grams. Both guitars are set in E standard with 1046 regular slinky Ernie balls. I've adjusted the string action and the pickup height on both guitars to be fairly similar using the Music Nomad string action gauge, which has the pickup height measurement as well. Here's what the Gibson case looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4 and one in the back, 5 latches. This one locks and the thick leather handle. It has the Gibson gold logo with black outline, and let me show the other side. Here's the hinge, 2 of them, and that's the latch. The underside has 3 support points and there are 4 here. If I have to be completely honest, I'm not happy with this case. First of all, I don't like the color of the interior, and then it's not a perfect fit. A lot of space here in the back. Gibson puts a piece of foam here to compensate for it, but I don't think that's appropriate for a guitar that costs this much. Here's the Epiphone case. I like it much better than the Gibson because it has the Scully logo. It's black. The interior is fairly similar, but it's a perfect fit, unlike the Gibson. Here's how the Gibson fits into the Epiphone case. Perfect fit. Check out the Epiphone in the Gibson case. Same situation. The Gibson case has compartment for accessories with a Gibson branded leather handle. Here are all of the accessories and some silica gel. In here we have a label which says 2021, made in Costa Rica, and the brand is barely visible, but yeah, anyway. Here's everything that comes with the guitar. It's a good thing that the truss rod key is included because the multi-tool one doesn't fit the nut. Then we have the Gibson owner's manual. You're used to seeing this one on a lot of guitars. It should have the flying V, yep, and the Les Paul here. Here's the Gibson multi-tool. I wanted one of these for so long, but it turns out it doesn't work, doesn't fit the nut of the truss rod. Gibson branded cloth, nice addition, and this I'm gonna show you later. The owner's warranty, and this is the key for the case. The blank truss rod cover that I showed you before. Cream pickguard that you can put on the guitar if you like, and the baby photo. They stopped putting baby photos in later editions of these guitars. Here's the pre-pack checklist. They've switched to another format for later guitars as well, but I'm gonna go through this one. Here's everything checked, and we have the date, model number, some cool /signature picks. I think these are Tortex. Yep, Gibson Tortex 1.14 thick. The Gibson weighs almost 4 kilograms or 8.72 pounds. Now let's hear both guitars. Even though I waited for a couple of days after string change, I had to constantly tune the Epiphone. You've seen the similarities, you've seen the differences, you heard both guitars. It's entirely up to you which one you choose. The good news is that they're both great. Even the stickers for details cannot deny that the original guitar was a replica, the Derrig replica, so doesn't matter which one you choose, whichever one suits you, it's good. Which one would I choose though? Boy, that's a tricky question. Usually when I go for signature guitars, I try to get the best possible, like the custom shop versions, even Murphy Lap or something like that. But in this case, given that the guitar was a replica made by Kris Derrig, doesn't really matter that much. But still, I'm not a huge fan of the Epiphone. I would definitely go with the Gibson USA. And I did, I bought it. If I have to get it for a collection though, maybe I would go with a different finish like Jessica. My favorite one was the Anaconda Burst, so I will probably get that one and keep it for myself later on for collection. So my advice is this: if you're on a budget, go for the Epiphone. It's a good guitar, it's well made, it's good value for money, has the hard shell case, sounds similar when recorded. Make no mistake though, doesn't feel as good as the Gibson. It's a great value for money though, and I'm sure that Epiphone will fill the gap between both guitars with a new version that has the Gibson headstock, like the greenie for Kirk. You know, with one piece neck, etc, etc. Whichever one you get though, I would advise you get rid of the Audio-Technica 2 pickups that come with them. Go for the Seymour Duncan slash set that is sold separately. So that's my advice to you. Choose whichever one you like, whichever one suits your budget. They're both great guitars even though they're not the same. That's all for these two, and I'm gonna make similar videos for the other finishes of the Slash signature guitars.